are really more remote
Mhm.
in the parts of the city that we've identified where are difficult to get here. Well, I guess hearing the complexity more remote and in the parts of the city that we've identified. Maybe I'll just cancel my, my public records request, so I'm not out $1,000 or something.
Oh, wow.
We just wanted to do
When I
that.
give you a whole thing about,
That-
it
that's-
gets reviewed by an attorney.
That's
and
because
whatever.
they don't want you to ask for it.
There
That's
you
why,
go.
that's why they make it hard to get.
So like, maybe I'll just let them know at this time, I don't need this information and we'll table this, but
Don't even let
But I
them know
would-
it's good.
I mean,
For now, but
yeah.
keep it.
I mean, I like the idea of figuring out, I mean, we talked earlier about getting, library cards for kids. And it'd be really nice to figure out a way to encourage in the summertime kids to come in here, whether it's the, providing like library cards in the packets, when the kids get their, get their food in the summer, or some kind of way to kind of encourage them to come over here.
In Portland, I know they use just their ID number.
We are working
Yeah.
on that with
Yeah,
Salem
right.
Kaiser, yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Oh,
yeah, and the other piece is, since the Friends runs the summer reading program, that would be like.
No,
so they pay for
I mean,
They
they
pay
pay
for
for
some,
it,
yeah.
but yeah, I'm sorry,
Sorry.
okay, yeah, well, yeah, I guess can't happen without the money, right? But anyway, I guess I saw that also as a way of maybe us working with them to bring the summer reading program to these locations as well.
And again, we're just brainstorming, the
Yeah.
other thing we could do is put in a bus day pass in the packets with an incentive that, we really like to encourage you to go to, the library and pick up your books, and, here's a free day pass to get there. Might be a
Kids
way.
have free bus service and say.
Oh, they do. Oh,
They brought that back,
oh, they did bring that back. Oh, they did. Oh, good. Well,
but you're right, the parents don't.
Maybe
So
we
that
give a free pass for the parents
Parents,
then.
there we go.
Yeah,
Because they can use that pass all day long to go to a lot of places. They need to go, it's just the library.
all right, so maybe talk to Chariots, okay?
Yeah.
Well, remember we were gonna talk about the bus stop, yeah, you
I
have
still,
Chariot
have that in the back.
Is there
of
a
my head,
Chariots
but
connection person or?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay, right,
the other thing would be is when we get the van, like maybe the van could take turns just stopping in at different lunch sites.
It's certainly something we can look at. Again, it goes with capacity and what outreach we do, like a migrant education outreach right now. We do several outreaches during the summer. So again, you're talking about, we need a truckload of vans and people to drive them.
It is also a particularly busy time for us here.
Mhm.
A lot of folks at the door, so having staff here to serve them is.
The summer, your needs go up, or you.
Oh,
Because the kids aren't-
exponentially, yes.
So they-
Yeah.
Air
My
conditioning.
best description is like drinking from a fire.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
wow,
It is very.
It's
busy
that
here,
different,
so.
and it's.
wow.
The library, is the library a cooling center during the summer?
It
It
is,
is.
yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right, well, I think we've kind of fleshed out some ideas, and I think I'll let them know that at this time, the reality, that we don't need to expose myself to big debt. Okay, so next topic, the meetings schedule. Okay, so I think we previously, first of all, this is an important meeting today because our next meeting isn't for 9 weeks. So, and it is planned that one will be by Zoom. Now, if we're going to discuss, location versus Zoom, does anyone have any thoughts about whether we should make any amendments to the prior plan of having, the set months that we were going to be in person be, for next year? Could you go over those again? I could, because I had them in front of me. I know it was January was gonna be Zoom, wasn't it May? I didn't know if I brought that. book.
May, let's see.
May was gonna be in person and maybe some. Wait a
Was it March, April?
We missed February. Well, the ones that,
Oh, we have it written down. It should be in the minutes.
anybody want a 6-year-old pop?
It's Halloween every day.
Yeah, right.
So tired of candy.
I'm looking for the book that I had that written. Well, what do people think about Zoom versus in person? I mean, this is the first in-person meeting that I've been to in a long time, but we always had them in person prior to COVID.
Well, we actually voted on this at a
Right.
previous
We did.
uh, meeting. And now I'm looking to,
Okay, lab in person was gonna be January, May, and September. Those were the 3 months. And then we amended it to add November today.
January in person.
Yeah. That's what I have from,
yeah, just, I'm sorry. But just this year, we were doing October and November in person. But then starting in the new year,
Right.
it would just be January,
May, and
and
September.
September.
Okay, so I guess we'll meet again in person in January. Okay,
Is that hard for you, Mel? Because I know at one point you said meeting in person, like you have childcare and some things like that.
It's not hard. I mean, I do have kids, and if right now their sports schedule seems to just naturally fit around this meeting, but you know, I would prefer not to drive through 5 p.m. Salem traffic if I had the option not to. It saves an hour of my day. You know, it took me about 20 minutes to get here, and I just live north off of Pine and Broadway. But getting through the downtown can be pretty dicey at this hour. So it's just a time saver and a convenience.
Yeah.
It's nicer to, you know, only step out of the living room for an hour and go down into the office than to be gone for a couple hours to come in person. It's just a convenience and accessibility and flexibility thing.
so lab doesn't meet in December and July. So there's 10 meetings a year. And with the current January, May, September, 3 would be in person and 7 would be remote. So the bulk of the meetings, if it's, as we decided before, January, May, and September would be remote.
What it seemed, oh my gosh, I just saw these things. Come on.
Love
The whole thing
those.
about the arrow, anyway, never mind. What we found during the pandemic and stuff, just doing Zoom, is that without meeting in person, at least some of the time, you just kind of feel like you're not connected. And you don't have any of the camaraderie of like before a meeting and saying, hey, what's going on or whatever. It just felt better. And I kind of still feel that way. But if people, I think 7 and 3 is kind of a nice, thing.
I think I'll add to that, since I'm new on the advisory board. Having the last few meetings in person, I think was great for me, so I could learn everyone's communication styles. But that kind of lets me know how to interject and when it is or isn't appropriate to like tail on somebody's other comments, et cetera, et cetera. That's been very helpful. I have a personal preference for in-person meetings, but now that I've gotten to know everyone at least briefly, I'm comfortable either way.
I would just mention, I concur with the rest of the folks here. I would like to, at least if we could have one of our meetings, whether January, May, or September, at the West Salem branch.
Oh,
Oh,
that's a good
great
idea.
Yeah, so that, and again, I know there's issues around traffic.
It's not an issue, it's just a.
Oh, well, it is, I come from South, it would be for me, because I come from South Salem.
Oh,
so-
okay.
That
Um,
bridge.
Yeah, the bridge, so, but I think it'd be good for us, just to have a presence there. So they know that we're, don't just represent downtown, and represent that branch as well.
Okay. So
Is there, I've never been to that branch, is there space?
Yes, yeah, yeah.
a cute little library.
Yeah.
Really sweet. So should we now, I would say maybe not in January just because of weather issues and, but that would just be a personal interjection. So, does someone wanna, decide, recommend May or September?
I'd like to recommend that May be in person at our West Salem branch,
Okay.
making sure that it works with Kim and staff.
A second.
All in favor? All right. All right, so moving right along.
And is it possible that by January we could have and I think actually I just looked at our blog, we're supposed to have a schedule listed by September of our next year's meetings.
We'll get that.
And can we make sure we have Tootsie Rolls at our?
I'll make a motion.
Yeah.
At the Zoom meeting.
Meeting after Halloween.
Right, okay.
We're all gonna.
So,
Yeah.
so we do have one open position, and I don't know if we are aware of any interest in that.
We have a couple of people that were on kind of the waiting list-ish. So, and we can go back and now we have this open position and contact those people and see if they're still interested. And then we'll work with Linda Rose to get somebody appointed.
Great.
They keep the applications for a year, she told me,
Right.
so.
Mhm.
But
So-
could somebody still apply?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So people can apply at any time. I believe it's on the website. So I'm not sure, like, if it's kind of how smooth the process is.
You
It
have to
might
kind of
be
look
kind of
for it, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
bumpy.
Yeah, I only knew about it through an article in the paper,
yeah.
so.
Oh, you saw it in the paper?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe that would be something that should be in Salem Reporter.
Well, we could
Yeah.
send out a email. That's what we did last time too, is we sent out an email blast saying, hey, we have openings, apply here. If you're interested in serving on lab.
Okay.
So if you'd like us to do that, we,
Yes.
yeah, Sonia can help us.
And
with
there's
that.
$1,000 application fee.
To pay for the records.
Yeah, in the library. Okay.
So we already spoke
not-
to the bond measure that's probably passed, and that we'll be keeping an eye on and trying to be advocate for additional library sites, as we've spoken in Southeast and North Salem. I don't know what the results were, there was a Kaiser library.
It doesn't look like it passed.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
it was somewhat close-ish,
Uh-huh.
55 to 45-ish, yeah.
I'm sorry, what was Kaiser going to do?
They wanted to put $2.50 on their utility bill to pay for a library.
I know they have a
For Kaiser.
volunteer library.
Yeah, so they want to become a public library, and part of that
Oh.
is getting some funding, and so that was what they were asking for.
So with the bond measure that passed, do they have sites already identified?
I don't, there's information, but I don't think that we do have sites available, but on the website, there's all the information about the bond and how it would be spent out and the projection of, on the city website, like there's a whole link to all all bond information, so, and how it would work and all of that.
We did want, I think it says underserved areas, so.
For sure.
That's what we need make sure that happens, that they, you know, like northeast for sure. Seems to me, and maybe the southeast, I don't know.
I think the thought was to make these dual use, so you'd have reduced or low income housing and a library together.
Okay, so, we're down to the action items. I think we've already kind of done our due diligence on the summer lunch program, but yeah, you have to go. And, yeah, we've done the location schedule. I would like to get more of an update from the Willamette Heritage Foundation on what I mean, we made that, as I put in the chair's report, we made a $10,000 donation to them so they could bring down $10,000 match funds.
And
And-
I think that
yeah.
Christopher was kind of working on that
Yeah.
project, so I'll look and see if I can find any information, but I have a contact for Willamette Heritage too.
Yeah, I think that, you know, that we should get either a
Mhm.
written update or an in-person update on.
Kylie's happy to
Yeah.
come and talk if you would want her
Yeah.
to. And I thought I had sent out an update, the latest one. It's actually in the agreement that they will do it like every 3 months.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, gotta go.
Bye. Okay, so now the next thing would be your item, the Dolly Parton Imagination Life.
Yeah, who here is familiar with it?
I know about it.
Okay, I had never heard it before, so you already know about it. What I propose is that I don't quite understand parliamentary procedure and everything, but I think that Francine, that what I'd like is to have a person who is a liaison come and speak to us about that. I'm really excited about this program. If there are any losses about this program, I'm not seeing them in there. You would have a lot more information, Kim, on, you know, whether staff is required and all of this kind of thing, but Kaiser has already signed up quite a few kids, 14% goal, just within, I think it's 1 or 2 months, and it's just phenomenal. But the program, as you probably remember, is they mail a book to children from birth all the way through age 5. And what a better program than that, to get children excited getting books in the mail and, you know, getting started with reading and the love of reading.
So I think that I agree that I have passion for children and reading and learning and literacy. But I just wondered, what funds do you think? I mean, $2.50 a month for the mailing fee sounds like a small amount if the kid's getting a book, but there's a lot of kids and our funds are not renewable. We don't have like a source of an endowment in the lab money. Once it's gone, it's gone. So we should put it to good use, but were you thinking that the lab would finance that?
You know,
Tell
I
me
was
what-
under the impression that Hub financed it. And went clear through the Marion Polk County, and I could be wrong about that.
I think they got some grants too.
Dolly Parton finance it, isn't that?
She buys the books,
Oh,
selects the book.
It's largely financed by the community that
Okay.
where the library exists. And
Yeah.
there's different ways that different communities do it. Sometimes, you know, it'll be through a library and that's generally let's take Silverton. So their Rotary Club finances it through the library partners with them to get the
Okay.
information about the program out, right?
Got it.
So the challenge with Salem is who do we choose? What zip codes do we choose to do this project with if we don't have the money to fund all of Salem?
Okay.
So
And-
we could do like a planning, kind of a, you can use one of planning study or just kind of figure out.
Well, go ahead.
That's been done.
Oh, it
The hub has been working for
Mhm.
quite a long time to do this, and they have isolated one Salem zip code. That's currently.
I think there are two Salem zip codes.
Is it two?
Sure. I'm not sure. Let's see, it's
I had written.
301 and 303. Is 303 in Salem?
303 is.
Yeah. That's,
How about 344
That's
and 351?
also not Salem.
Oh, so, okay, so we only really have
Those
one.
must be Independence and Falls.
Mhm.
All city is one of them. And boy, do they need it.
Yeah.
So our challenge would be, we want to support it, but our challenge is like, how do, we want to get the word out about it, but how do we send an email blast to people and say, hey, there's this program, and then it goes to people who aren't eligible for the program?
mhm.
That's gonna cause a lot of confusion, and a lot of probably,
About that too.
yeah, I mean, that's one challenge. So the early literacy learning hub is made up of stakeholders throughout the community, and we do partner with them. As far as sitting on that early literacy hub and share, but it's mostly a sharing information as far as we're concerned. We share what we're doing so that we can all be on the same page about what we have going on in the community.
So, did you want to make a formal motion for something that? we
Yeah, I
should do?
just wanted to feel it out with group and to see if everybody thinks this is worthwhile. Certainly, I don't want to waste that person's time or any of yours if, you saw more negatives than you did. On the other hand, if you feel neutral or somewhat interested, we could at least hear what he has to say.
Yeah, I'd be open, I'd be happy to make a motion that, or just to cordially invite them to our, January or February meeting. Just to hear more about the program, and then we can decide at that point what direction we want to go in.
Would it be better to have him at a in-person meeting?
Yeah.
I think so. And did we decide that January was an in-person?
We did.
Then that would be January, I guess. All right.
Yeah.
Do you want to make that motion?
Yes. Joe, just, I think just for the minutes that we just cordially invite that, I don't know if we need a motion.
I don't know anything.
Yeah, I
Frequency.
cordially invite them to first day.
And that would be somebody from,
Fran, I think, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it be you?
no, I mean, somebody from Hub to come, or somebody from,
No, specifically, his name is Jim Shepke.
oh.
I think we need Dolly Parton. Get Dolly Parton.
Well,
So,
she's singing
okay.
Jolene.
So
But she's got a Zoom,
Jim Shepke is the point person for,
apparently, for the
Oh.
outreach for this.
oh, okay.
The
Mhm.
contact information here is at the top of this demo is, for an early learning hub and help.
Mhm.
There's that contact who I was listening to was Jim Shepke. And he was very interested and he's a very involved in it. And he was very interested in speaking to the group.
Isn't he, why is that name so familiar?
He used to be the state librarian of Oregon.
Salem Progressives, is he part of that too?
I don't know.
Okay, I don't know, that name is just.
Huh.
He did a lot of work when we went for the seismic bond update.
Maybe
like,
Arts
He is a-
Is he,
Mhm.
okay.
I mean, it might be if this is the contact for the hub and they're the ones leading the direction, you might consider speaking to them as well and see if they want to come.
At the same time.
Or
Everybody?
I would just communicate with them, just making sure that you have make sure like whoever's voice we're hearing is representing the actual group that is sponsoring this or trying to move it forward. Yeah.
That makes sense. I'll
Mhm.
be happy to do that. I'll contact this person. Do we want to keep an invitation pending on, or do we want to assume that he is going to be invited in the event that that they identify him as a point person, or what would you like to do?
Denise, I guess I would recommend if you want to contact Lisa and just say, hey, we'd like a presentation on this at our January meeting. Are you the right person or Jim or someone else?
That's a good way to do it.
Just use her as the.
I guess I'm probably like needing my Tootsie Roll pop to feed my brain here. I guess I'm not sure how the lab can have any like connection with this. I mean, I guess I don't see, can you tell me how you see it in bringing this forward?
You know, I really didn't know very much about the program, so what I envisioned, and Sonia would know a whole lot more about how this actually works. But it's a process of signing the kids up. Now, the paying for it, I assume, was coming out of Hub. Is
Okay.
that correct?
I don't know.
I,
Yeah, I mean, as far as
Very-
I know,
very
yeah,
administrative.
yeah.
I do believe that I read that they were
Mhm,
paying, so
mhm.
I thought that the only involvement for the library or family blocks or churches or anything was simply signing the kids on.
But that may be a question to ask Lisa, are they looking for a partner in Salem to sponsor this, or are they looking at us as a resource to get the information out?
Well-
I do want to mention that we've been at the table throughout these discussions.
Okay.
The Salem Public Library has a representative at all of the meetings. So we might also want to have the staff members who have been involved in the discussion come talk about kind of how we see our role and how we intersect.
I mean, are we putting the cart before the horse here? I mean, to be honest, I think there's interest on our part to have them involved, but maybe step back, maybe a presentation from staff might be the
Yeah.
best.
Mhm,
And we've been involved
mhm.
at the beginning of the discussion, so
Okay.
I think we'd be happy to provide information on kind of how we've worked with, and partnered with the group as they develop the
This
program.
particular group, Sonia?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that is kind of putting the horse before the cart.
And maybe just giving us an overall, good opportunity to get an overall presentation. We can decide at that point what our next step maybe is, where can we fill a role, if there's a role that needs to be filled.
Can we do
Okay.
that for January then? Have a staff member?
I can ask and see if somebody's available. If not, I'll fill me in and I'll be available.
I'd like to get more information on this program. It sounds really great, as long as we are not creating costs
Mhm.
that can't be borne.
Yeah, and I mean, as
Program.
you know, the library does do a lot of putting books and building home libraries. We do that in many, many, many ways, and with our outreach, with our migrant education program, you know, we are building with our summer reading program, we're putting books in people's hands. That's, you know, that is one thing that we are doing currently, so, so we feel proud of that. This is a great program too, but yeah.
I was concerned about only one zip code being handled
Mhm.
here, that would put a stress
Mhm.
on advertising and then turning people away.
Yeah, we never want to be in a position where we're giving somebody an advantage because of the zip code they live in. We want to make sure our services go equally to everyone in Salem and our community, right? So we look for important opportunities. We look for the gaps, the needs, and we do what we can with our resources to meet those needs.
Great, okay, so,
I will contact them.
well, I don't think they have to do that at this point. Let's wait and see what the staff is
Yeah.
doing. And I guess that's what I would recommend. I don't know, but maybe do other people would think that would be wise?
So January, I'll bring something back
Yeah,
about
Yeah.
our
just-
participation and
Right.
where our perspective on where we see the Salem Public Library fitting into the early learning hub and our role there and our
Right.
role in this project that they're doing.
That's great.
And Kim, perhaps some of the other, just to touch bases, not all of us have heard about all of the outreach programs that you're doing, and giving a little refresher on that.
Oh, yeah,
be nice.
that would be
Great.
fun.
That would be a fun meeting
Okay.
and informative.
So it is now Oh, 6:38. So our 1 hour, is a minute. And we will adjourn the meeting, and the next meeting will be in person on January 11th. At 5:30. Thank you all.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Francine.
Okay,
Love how time conscious this group is.
Joe,
You're right.
I haven't mentioned yet.
That's
so
right, yeah.
do you have a moment?